I have no idea how this is going to go. I've got sticky notes. We're going to talk about the Norman invasion. The Norman invasion. You can't see it. It's fine. You don't have to. I do. Useless. Right, so before we start on the Norman invasion, we actually need to figure out who the hell people are. King Edward the Confessor, by the name Confessor, he actually means very religious. And by very religious, it also means he didn't have any kids, which is a big problem, but not now. Later. Remember that. No kids. Done. Now we have his right-hand man, his brother-in-law, Harold Godwinson. Harold Godwinson. He fell off, it's fine. He's an earl, he's a son of a powerful earl, and he is an earl himself. He's Earl of Wessex, which, you know, great, we love Wessex. Basically, he was one of the most powerful men in all of England at that point, and he had a lot of sway in what was going on, and all of his family were very rich, and his sister was shagging the king. No, they weren't shagging, because the king was very religious. They were platonically not shagging, but shagging. There you go. Now, he also had a brother called Toxtig. They didn't get on very well, but we'll get onto that a bit later. Now, we've got a controversial figure, but one of the most famous people in history, William the Bastard of Normandy. He's a bastard because, well, he is one. His father and his mum weren't married. He's an illegitimate child. So he's got a bit of a chip on his shoulder. He rules over Normandy. He's the Duke of Normandy. So, yeah, he is very important. Remember him. Otherwise, you know, I'll deduct points. As well as being an actual bastard, he was also pretty naff as a human. But, oh well. Now we have what some of you may consider a Viking. But, you know, not really a Viking. Because Vikings were... Anyway, he was Scandinavian. So there you go. They keep falling off. It's fine. We've got Harald Hardrada. Lots of Haralds. It's okay. He was king of Norway. He was grandson of a king of England. He's hard as nails. He's a big shed of a man, basically. Massive axe. You know, typical Viking bit, like 6 foot. There will be more people in the future. But for now, that's it. In 1064, Harold Godwinson set sail to France. On the way, his ship crashed. There was a big hubbub about it, and he got captured somewhere near Normandy. And he was brought before William of Normandy, and William was like, "Oh, I like you," and Harold Godwinson was like, "Huh, I like you too, funny man." There's 2 different versions of this story. One of the versions is that Harold was tricked into swearing an oath to William that when Edward died, he would let him have the throne. We don't know if that's true, but the other version of the story is that William was directed by God to have control of the English throne. Whichever you want to believe, up to you. We've done that. Cool. Harold Godwinson returns to England in 1065, and few months later, Edward, he bloody dies. Oh, who could have seen that coming? And because he didn't have any children, succession crisis. It's one or the other. If you have no kids at all, succession crisis, lots of war, lots of death. Or you cause lots of death by trying to have as many kids as possible. You know, Henry VIII, you know, 6 wives. Anyway, yeah, him not having kids, it was a bad thing. So we need to talk a bit of politics now. So there was this body of people called the Witan, and what the Witan were, they were basically a council of powerful earls and lords who decided and elected a king. So we're gonna have people wanting to become king. Who are those people I hear you say? Got Harold Godwinson, obviously. Harold Godwinson was powerful earl in the kingdom, king's right-hand man, brother-in-law of the king. Oh, what a perfect choice. Got a good head on his shoulders. He's Anglo-Saxon good. It was said that on King Edward's deathbed, he bestowed the crown upon him. Whether that is true or not, well, I'd say it if I was in his position, to be honest. So, got Howard Hardrada, because remember his granddad? Yeah, his granddad like King Magnus or King Canute or something. I don't bloody know. I haven't researched this in years. The powerful holdings in Norway, but also his granddaddy was a king. So, you know, who else? Then we got William of Normandy. God was like, oi, mate, I want you to be King of England. And William of Normandy was like, yes, sire. And also various oaths and stuff that may or may not have been oathed upon holy relic. Who knows? There was also murmurings of Edward actually being like, hey, I want you to rule when I die. But again, we don't know. And now we've got little Edgar Atheling. Edgar the Atheling. Edgar is basically just a distant cousin of Edward. He's like a teen. He's like 14 at the time. He's technically the rightful heir, but he's a child. He doesn't really know what's going on. So no matter what, he's sort of discounted from the argument anyway. So Edgar, you can piss off. Any guesses to who the winner is, folks? I wonder who it's going to be. Ready, drum roll. Oh, it's Harold Godwinson.
Yay, well done, chap.
He was crowned actually the day after Edward died, and lots of people took umbrage to that. People were not happy. Oh, also people that did not like this was Harold's brother Tostig. Well, Tostig, Harold's brother, he was Earl of Northumbria, and in Northumbria they had a very delicate political situation going on, because there was something called the Danelaw, and basically what the Danelaw was that a bunch of Danish people had invaded and spread their culture throughout the northern and eastern parts of England. It was very different culturally, and so you know, any earl or ruler had to respect that, and this was called the Danelaw. And Tostig, he threw it out the window. He really did not like the Danes. So there was a revolt, and the revolt was also partly led by Harold, his own brother. Can you believe it? Anyway, Tostig is a bit miffed, and now his brother's also king, so he's even more miffed. He's like, oh, hold on. So he goes to Harold Hardrada, and he goes to William of Normandy. He's basically like, right, lads, how can I help you? Oh, which one tells him to piss off? William tells him to piss off. Harold doesn't. He's like, oh, you can stay around. You're fun. So both of them are trying to plan invasions at the same time, which, you know, brilliant. Both because they want the crown, both because, you know, they see a level of instability. Invasion time. So we've got Harold Hardrada and Tostig Godwinson ready to invade in the north, and you've got in the south, in Normandy, William the Conqueror ready to, well, he's not the Conqueror yet, but he will be. Spoilers. William of Normandy ready to invade from the south of Normandy. No one quite knows who's going to invade first, but Harold thinks, ooh, I think William's going to invade first, and so he moved all his troops down into the south. Now this is what we call a bad idea. Harold Hardrada, seeing an opening, was like, oh, here we go, lads. Let's get them. So he invaded whilst all of Harold's troops were in the south. Now, there wasn't an invasion from the south because the weather, quite characteristically, was quite bad. And so they couldn't sail across the channel to get to England. It meant that there wasn't a two-pronged invasion. And so Harold would have better chances of defending his kingdom. Harold and all of his troops rushed all the way up north to I think it was York, actually, and battles ensued. There was big men with sticks and a bridge and poking up people's bottoms. If you want to learn more about the battles, there's YouTubers for that. Harold won. Brilliant. We love it. So at this point, all of Harold's army is a bit exhausted, a bit miffed. But they've repelled the Viking invasion. So they're quite chuffed. But what's this? What's this news? The Normans are invading from the south. Oh no. So they have to march all the way back down. William was a bit of a dick about things and stopped burning villages down. And then you get The Battle of Hastings. You all know this one. 0800 1066. Normans v Anglo-Saxon. Big Hill. On top of the Big Hill, you've got some Normans. At the bottom of the Big Hill, you've got some Saxons. I've got the high ground, Anakin. Guess who wins? It was Normans. And thus, William of Normandy became William the Conqueror, and all was well with the world, and thus continues the line of succession all the way down to our good Queen Liz too. Blimey, I did that all in 17 minutes. Not very well, mind. This also, by the way, you shouldn't be using this as a score research source. Just don't even bother, alright?